Hello, everyone. Welcome again to Savvy Women of Social Media. I am Michelle, your host for today. We got one more interview after this, so you're going to see a lot of me today. But today's interview about how COVID has affected us is going to be with Michelle Roberts. And in 2013, Michelle launched Novus Be Known, where she works as a brand expert and contract chief marketing officer to medium to large size companies, building on a successful and award-winning design career which spanned product design development to art directing, marketing manager for various companies. Michelle focuses on getting her clients the results they want and acts as a trusted advisor to grow their company. Due to her efforts, her clients have seen various results from 50% boost in team morale, 30% increase in brand awareness, and over 200% increase in web leads. Her mission is to help companies create meaningful brands by igniting purpose from the inside out and partnering with them use their success as a force for good in the world. And we need a lot more good right now. She resides in East Irondequoit with her husband, Josh, and dog, Stella, who is so cute. And she enjoys swimming, drawing, painting, and spending time with her family in their Adirondacks. Welcome, Michelle. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thanks for
Good.
having me.
Yeah, thanks for doing this again. This is Michelle's second time being interviewed in the group. The first time was talking about marketing and branding. So you can always go back to the units tab and watch that. So today we're really talking about focusing this month actually on how COVID has affected us now that we've been going through this for, 6 months now. How did it affect you personally, if it did at all?
Yeah, I think like most people, it sort of was a very dramatic pause in all parts of our lives. And for me, February, I had gotten some news from the doctor that I had high cholesterol. And that wasn't something that I thought I would be hearing. And so starting in February, I was like on this mission to become much more healthier. And once COVID finally kind of surfaced, it was like I'd already been in that transition of, looking at how I was spending my time. But I wasn't as diligent as I needed to be. But COVID kind of forced me to really look at it. I was working out like a ton. I was going swimming every day. I was swimming laps. So when COVID hit, I was like, none of that. I have to focus on one thing, which was my eating habits. So that's sort of where I was at personally. And then, of course, wanting spring to come as soon as possible. So it kind of felt like COVID was prolonging that. It felt like it took forever.
I know it did feel like forever.
And so that was in February. And like I said, by the time March, April, I was really starting to hone in. And there was also some medication that I went on for some different hormone imbalances. And, that was pre. So I got to really focus on myself more than I would have and slowed down.
Yeah, that's a common theme right now with everybody. I was talking to Kathy today and she said she got to slow down, and I think we all really have. Now, I forget what your husband does, but was he able then to work from home as well and you got to spend more time together, or?
We're like one of those couples that people hate because we spend like every minute together. We're never really getting sick of each other ever. So prior to that, he had been working on his consulting practice, and we both have home offices, so we just stayed at home. And the dog, and that was it. And we were able to work together, separately, but still works.
So, do you feel like it affected you emotionally any? Because I opened up with the first interview with Kate last week, that, I did get depressed for a little while because here we were living our lives normally. And then this hit, and my son is home, my husband's home. What are we doing? We can't go anywhere. And so I know I felt a little depressed. My husband, who is always active and on the go and working all the time, he definitely went through a little depression the first couple of weeks he
Mhm.
was home. So did you feel
Yeah.
any kind of way when this first hit?
Oh, absolutely. Fear, um, anxiousness. I think one of the biggest things for me was I went swimming every day. So that was like my stress outlet.
Mm.
And when they closed the gyms, I was like, and I remember going like a week before they closed and thinking this might be the last time that I can go for a long time. And that really kind of scared me, and it brought on anxiety. And I'm naturally an introvert. So for me, staying home, but I don't like to be forced to
Yes,
stay.
me too. Yep.
So, naturally being introvert, we actually decided to take on a lot of home projects that we could do ourselves, mostly directed by me, but that's my idea. So that really kept us busy and focused on other things. And we built sort of like a really fun home gym in our basement. Josh did actually, he remodeled it and surprised me. So that was really great. But yes, definitely it was the initial very much anxiety for me
Mm-hmm.
and just wanting to get out. So we took like date trips. Like when it started to get open a little bit, we would go by the water and then, do a drive-in, but we'd eat in the car. It's
Mm-hmm.
like a date night in the car. And that just, some days it was just like all you needed to feel better.
Yeah, we took lots of rides. People saved on gas except for my husband because it
Hey,
was,
and your car.
yeah.
Good.
But if it was a nice sunny day and it was springtime, I'm like, okay, once Mikey was done with school, I'm like, let's go for a ride. And we did. So we did take lots of rides and yes, had a lot of junk food in the car.
Yeah,
um,
definitely a
yeah. And I'm
splurges.
sure Stella loves having you guys home more.
Oh yeah, she does. I was gonna say the car thing. I didn't drive my car for about 3 months because
Yeah.
Josh took his. I went for my inspection today. Turns out I need new rotors
Oh no.
and brake pads because I didn't drive it.
My inspection was expired. We noticed a couple of weeks
Yep.
ago. Aldo's like, your car expired in April. I'm like, no, I didn't know that because yeah, we're not driving it, so I didn't really pay attention. So I finally had to rush and get that. But so professionally, you have your branding business, your Novus, and you also have Messenger Birds. So let's start with Novus. How did it affect you professionally? Because I've mentioned this before, a lot of us go out networking and you have to be face to face with people to network and gain new clients and get to know and like and trust people. So how did this affect you and what have you been doing to gain that know like and trust and get new clients?
Yeah, so pre-COVID in January and February, I was working towards this being my best year yet. All the numbers were adding up. I was beyond excited. And in the beginning of the year, I really shifted my business model. So I started advertising and repackaging my services for long-term retainers. And that really gave me a springboard. And I locked down 2 clients, one that I had a prior engagement with. So due to that, though, I feel like doing that work and sort of shifting that model at that time is basically allowed me to only take like a 15% loss this year. So I maintained all my clients' work, and we adjusted. We were agile with our tactics. Could it have been better if I get more clients, of course, but I was able to really maintain those clients, and we did a lot of different things than we did when we had planned out in January.
And what about with your clients? Were you able to, I don't know, did they come to you stressed out like, oh my God, now this hits, we're not working, we don't have a budget for this anymore? How did it affect your clients and what did you do to like calm their nerves, I guess?
Yeah, I was on the phone with them talking to them. One particular client, we talked almost every day.
Mm.
Her business was one of the essential businesses, so it didn't really affect her. Actually, at one point, she was actually growing during it. My other client, it was more of we met weekly with the sales team, with the CEO, and I helped lead some of those conversations around what are your clients, how has the behavior changed, what are they asking for. I worked very quickly with them when it came time. One of my clients had a division of their organization that really boosted. they weren't expecting the type of growth that they were going to have, which was great. However, we had to come up with strategies on how to best position maybe possibly a new division to support that. We had multiple conversations around, what's the best use of our time and money to be able to do that, to get the most out of that for right now. And we also changed up promotions. We're selling one product way more than any other products. So let's push that product in your email, your newsletter, our marketing pieces, especially equipping the sales team as well with the right, especially around their positioning of, when it came time, like why work with them versus someone else at this point, because they were, part of their business wasn't doing as well.
Yeah, it's tough. But on the opposite side, did you find that there were people coming to you that had the time to really think through their marketing plan and what they wanted for their business and really wanted to work on their business?
Yeah, I actually worked on my own business.
Me too.
Yes, there were a few organizations that reached out to me like during it, and we did a virtual workshop style of brand positioning, because just like everyone personally, professionally too, organizations are starting to step back and really look at how their organization's evolving with COVID, and has it impacted their ideals, their brand values. And so those things need to change as well. So yes.
And you also have Messenger Birds. And oh my gosh, where's mine? Shoot, I should have showed it. Here it is. Okay. So Michelle makes these by hand, and they're called Messenger Birds. And I'll let her explain more what they are. But I have one, my mom has two, and we love them. So it seems like you're spending more time doing this now during COVID, and your design has, not your design, but your birds have changed. And so explain what a messenger bird is
Mhm.
and how this has impacted your messenger
Yeah.
bird business.
Yeah. So the messenger bird is a bird made out of clay. I hand make every single one, and there is a hole in the belly of the bird. You write your own personalized message to someone special, roll the piece of paper up like a scroll, put it inside the bird, and give it to them as a gift. So I started making them. I came up with the product about over 10 years ago
Oh my
already.
gosh.
Uh, in my little apartment at my kitchen table. And so I've just continued to make them. I did take a break for a couple of years. I did launch with Hallmark in 2014. And so when COVID came, I just saw the need for people to, and myself, to have that restore of hope. So I created an additional bird line for the messenger bird of hope.
That's awesome.
And that really went over really well. I sold out with the first batch I made within the first couple of weeks.
And that color, is that blue? Is that the blue one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. There's a couple blue ones, but
Okay.
that I think part of slowing down really made me realize that I need to do more of what makes me happy. And that was the messenger birds. Yeah, it's something that delivers hope, delivers love to people, connection. And so it's just, it's definitely a part of me that I needed to go back to, and I did. And so I'll continue to do it. Novus is my primary business and way I make a living, although Messenger Birds is just, it's a wonderful gift. And I call it more of a seasonal style business where, hey, I'm all about multiple streams of income building, right? If there are ways for me to be fulfilled and have other people be fulfilled as well, and I contribute to that, that's amazing.
So, what are some tips you can give people now? Because obviously businesses have changed. The holidays are going to be different, but the holidays are still coming up. People still need to sell their products and services. What are some ways that people can market themselves to get the sales that they need to keep surviving with the holidays?
I think that, again, it comes back to understanding your behavior of your customer and being there for when they need it. I'm not a huge, part of some people I know, they did huge discounts. And I'm not a fan of that. I did not give discounts to my clients, but what I did do and will continue to do when they need me is to over deliver value, and that's really where you can't, if you're going to find someone that's going to partner with you to grow your business, that's how they should be. So I think that's important. Customer behaviors have changed. Definitely with the holidays. If you're talking more consumer based or B2B, I think B2B now is a time to really look at some of, like I said, the positioning of your brand, your culture, how everything is aligned. Is it still aligned? Because I'm just not sure that it is, with everything we've been through. So, I've had multiple conversations, like I said, and part of what I've been doing is trying to translate that workshop, brand positioning workshop, and I've done it into a more virtual setting so that allows people to do that. But I think, I think that this coming up, things will definitely settle even more down from a brand and marketing standpoint, but you also have a lot of other chaotic things going on.
Yes, we do.
And so all that is, I think transparency with branding is going to be just as important, just everything that's going on. Brands are going to need to be, they're going to need to stand for something much more than their products or service, especially now.
Yeah, I think it's so important with all the injustice and everything going on. Um, you know, riots everywhere, not riots, but protests everywhere. Sorry, wrong word. That's why I think these are just are important now too, because like you said, you can put a little message in them. And I know I loved when I got mine, and my mom has too, because she lost one and then found it, if
I
you
know, I
remember.
remember that.
So she wound up getting two. How have you been able to keep yourself motivated during this time? Because, I'm sure it's hard. Yeah, we're both homebodies, you and I, we both love being in our little areas, but like you, I like that face to face and getting to meet new people and seeing people. How have you been trying to stay motivated?
Educating myself and trying to do just what you're doing here. There are virtual networking groups. I did belong to a few of those just because I felt very isolated at one point. Also, it motivates me to work on my own business because I don't really have time. So in the midst of all of it, I redid my website. I changed my offerings on my website so it's consistent. I think that that's important.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I've been focusing more on my business as well and doing more like this because, I had the Facebook group. I just didn't really do much in it, unfortunately, because I was always so busy. But I think now that I have this routine down for during this time, I'm, fingers crossed I can keep it up. How important is it for us to still have a support system? And especially women, we go through so much with running a house, running a business,
Mhm.
taking care of family and kids and all of this stuff. How important is it to have this support system?
Huge. Absolutely. It's very important.
Yeah, what does support mean to you?
Hmm. That's a great question. I feel like that could actually be a whole therapy session. I think I've had that conversation before. Um, I think support is definitely self-support as well as other people, but knowing what I need to do to sort of refresh or get myself back to balance, and support of, I think for me, it's taking baths, reading books. My husband supports the heck out of me.
See, and that's good.
My
Sometimes people
family,
don't have that, unfortunately.
I know, yes. And my family, although I haven't really spent a lot of time, it's been really hard not being able to see them because I was, they live about 2.5 hours away. And so I typically would go home every once a month or so. And it was the longest time I'd not seen them in person. So that's hard because that's a support system for me.
Mhm. Are you doing lots of virtual wines or talks with your family or?
Yeah, virtual, FaceTime. It's just not the same.
I know, because you want to hug, you want to be able
Yeah.
to be close to people and yeah, hug everybody, and everybody's afraid now, which is,
Yeah.
understandable. What have you learned about yourself during this time?
One, that pre-COVID, I was talking about the health venture I was on, and I did manage to get my cholesterol extremely down
Good.
within those times. I lost 15 pounds and I rebalanced that hormone. So I feel a lot more like myself than I felt in like 5 or 6 years. Was that the question? That was the question, right?
Yeah, what have you learned about yourself?
And I think that I feel like I should do more things that make me happy, um, and not worry so much about uh, going to the next networking event or the board meeting or the committee meeting. It's you know, this is about what makes us happy in life,
Yeah.
right? To a certain degree. And I feel like there's a lot of talents that maybe I think that's one of the biggest things I've learned is that I still do need to do these things, not because I have to, but because I really want to, and they bring me joy.
Yeah, and you're a beautiful painter. She's also a painter, and she's been sharing her stuff on Instagram, and I love seeing them every day. They show up in my news feed. So,
Thank you.
what have you been doing for fun? Trying to keep sane during this time.
So as soon as I heard that there may be a pool that's opened, I like scoured Rochester, like outdoor pool, outdoor. I did find one, and I've been going to that. We also started working on our house. We hired a contractor a couple months ago, and he's been phenomenal. If anyone ever needs a contractor, and I've been really able to, like I said, like you said, painting is one thing, but I also found a deep love for interior design. Like because of COVID, my husband's like, yeah, you're not after COVID, like after COVID, so he's like, we have to cancel HGTV. It's like, we have to cancel that show. I'm like, that whole network. I'm like, no, no, no. So I think that's another piece of me that, I should do more of and find more joy in.
Do you see, because I'm sure you're doing a lot of Zooms like I have, do you see this going on for a while in the future? Do you think people will ever get back to face? But, obviously this is a switch for all of us. How are you liking all the Zoom meetings and
Yeah, I think it's individual too. I think that some people are I think well, I've been to 1 or 2 meetings where in person, and you kind of have to lay the groundwork. That's like sort of the first thing you have to do. What do you feel most comfortable with? Create common ground, and then make that decision on how the meeting is going to go. Uh, I have met, I have been meeting with clients face to face, certain clients, and that they feel comfortable doing that when we wear masks or we're 6 feet apart, or I just felt like this is my business. I don't have a
Mhm.
choice. Like, and
Yeah.
I love face to face. And if they're comfortable with that, then, for me, I have to make money. Like this is my living. And my husband's too. He works independently and he works with organizations and he's going to their offices.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna say, how has that affected? How has this affected him?
he has been working with the same client that's been keeping him very busy.
Good.
So he's been great. We've both been, really lucky that with that aspect of things.
Yeah. And enjoying the time together and all the DIYs you're making them do.
Yeah. Yeah. Tile shopping, Home Depot trips.
Well, Home Depot has definitely been busy during this
Yeah.
time because everybody realized what they needed to fix.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we're changing our sunroom into my office eventually because as you can see, I also share with my son. This is a big enough room that there's a built-in desk. And
Yeah.
this has always been my office for God, I've been here for
Remember.
10 years. So yeah, we're definitely we finally have enough money saved where we can finally turn my sunroom into an office, but
Yep.
a lot of those DIYs. But what are some takeaways that you have learned during this time, whether that be personal or professional, that people can learn from you?
Takeaways. Maybe I would say just do more of what you really love to do, make more time for it. Because as an artist, I just didn't feel very connected to that part of myself. So there's probably parts of yourself that people's self that they've kind of said, oh, I can do that later in life, or it's not really the right time. So I think that that's one big thing. From a business perspective, I would say, I think all of this has made people really think about who they work with as clients, as well as, you know, how, like, their business model in general. Meetings and not meeting in person could, you know, be detrimental sometimes to businesses. We know this. So I think from a business perspective, I know myself, I really looked at, you know, how and what platforms can I keep marketing my business, as well as who do I want to work with, and the sustainability factor there.
What are, and I'm not sure if I asked this or not, but what are some good ways to market yourself right now during this time?
We have had great success. Email lists, so they're starting to come right back. Most of my clients, they're getting that open rate like they used to, so that's great. LinkedIn, huge. I continue to use it. My clients use it. It will just, no matter what, that's going to be there. And I've found that I get a lot of referrals through there, people sharing my content. I've also, through this time, generated my content. I do 3 a month now, long style blog post. So I've focused on that as well.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this. And how can people reach out to you and get in touch with you for both Novus and Messenger Birds?
Yep, so you can email me at michelle@novusbeknown.com. And that's NOVUSbeknown.com.
So if you want to go into the live once this is done and comment with all your contact information, your website, whatever you want to put out there is great. If you have any questions for Michelle, make sure to comment below this live and we will make sure to answer them. Thank you so much for doing this and good luck with everything.
Thank you so much, Michelle. You too.
Yes. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.